Hi folks, Joaquim Torres here. So this is the Practice Techniques Discussion 2.0. I think the best technique for practice is to hold yourself accountable to a schedule. You should specifically, intentionally, and deliberately pick a practice time and ruthlessly stick to it. Have a routine. Now, I want to talk about just, being a musician. I'm not an accomplished guitarist. My father is. I have guitars. I pick them up. They have to be within striking distance of where you sit. I'm a media junkie, really. I don't know if you've seen the movie Cable Guy. I wasn't raised by the TV, but I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and music was always a part of my life. It was always around. My folks I was exposed to many different kinds of music from a very young age. Like I said, my father, has been an amazing guitarist. His whole life's passion has been music, and he still gigs with bands, as a matter of fact, up in Vermont. But I kind of just one thing that's tremendous that I want to touch on real quick is, we have this amazing thing called the internet. Like our folks never had that growing up, and now, you could watch, an Eric Clapton video, and you can see exactly where he's putting his fingers on the frets, and you can just try to emulate it right there on the spot, which is just amazing. And that's kind of like, that's how I do it. That's how I catch inspiration all over the place, all the time. I've mentioned this before. My music dictates my mood. My mood dictates my music. I am very nostalgic with music. Love listening to things that remind me of a certain time period of my life. But I love the fact that, an artist could have wrote a song based off what that meant to them, a situation, a relationship, whatever. But the listener, that song is whatever it means to you. It could be sitting in the back of a car getting out of a bad situation or anything. But as far as practice goes, your whole life is a practice, we're all listeners, and hopefully we're just listening to stuff that spins our wheels and gets us going, stuff we love. The stuff I love the most, I keep coming back to and back to. And like I said, I catch inspiration all over the place. I can't read music. I don't even know the chords I'm playing, but I don't know. I think I aspire to have a guitar in every room at some point in my life. But I love all genres of music. I just love, I feel like no matter what you're singing or playing or whatever, and you could be a tremendous, instrumentalist or whatever, but it's got to be done with a little soul, when you can watch something that is so profound and you're like, wow, I know what that person was going through when they wrote that, I just love it, and I don't know if it's true, but I was told that only 50% of the population gets goosebumps from music, and that was mind-blowing for me, because I just assumed everybody thought like I did and felt like I did, but some people don't have, I don't want to say some people don't have emotions. I believe we all have emotions, but maybe just some people control them better than others, better than me. Sometimes I feel like I'm got borderline personality disorder or whatever, because one day I'm listening to the blues, and I've been brought to tears from songs, specifically maybe a Pink Floyd song or two. Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Just kidding. But yeah, it's got to be a Telecaster. That's a Squire telly. I had a nice Mexican telly. Um, I'll have a nice Andy Summers uh, from the Fender Custom Shop. I'll have a nice Andy Summers replica someday. A nice Telecaster with a humbucker in it. But yeah, I mean, we have this internet, you know, but I think the best way to practice is, you know, purposefully and mindfully create a schedule, create a block of time specifically and deliberately for practice and do it. You know, maybe I could take learn how to read some music, you know, while I'm over here at Weber State, and maybe take some guitar lessons too. But your whole life, you know, like I feel like from the time I got my first guitar and just picked it up here and there, you know, you got to pick it up every day if you really want things to click, you know, because it's a feeling, you know, and your mood is so important, you know, because you know, some nights I could be trying to figure out, you know, a Radiohead lick or a Radiohead riff or something, you know, and specifically you got to get that dexterity and the muscle memory. But I've been obsessed with guitar my whole life. And most recently, you know, I'm 44, and most recently I feel like I don't know what I love more, drums or guitar, but I love them both. And my inspirations are endless. I would like to show you too here, you know, sometimes this is actually my syllabus for 1726 MUSC, but you can see here I just write artists and songs, you know, I'll randomly I make a lot of lists. But I love music through and through. I can't imagine a day without music. And you know, a key word is inflection. You know, it's not just enough to have the knowledge and the information, but it's the doing and the how you present it, you know. I think I would make a tremendous creative director, you know, like a music supervisor or something like that, because my mind is just an encyclopedia of artists and songs from, you know, 80s music to rock and roll, classic rock. Geez, you know, when I was a kid growing up, classic rock was like the Beatles and the Stones, you know. And nowadays, classic rock is, well, geez, Tom Petty, Guns N' Roses, stuff I grew up on. Well, hey, I love music of all kinds, you know. It's got to be done with some soul and passion, and practice has to be deliberate, you know. And I think another important thing to touch on is the thing that you really don't want to do the most, go do it. This kind of refers back to the Eat the Frog project. You know, all this information is relative here. But I'm going to upload this, and I hope I wasn't too much of a chatty Cathy. Oh, I do want to make one reference to a movie, too. There was a movie called Knockaround Guys that came out in the 90s. And all you youngsters, there was an actor named Vin Diesel. He's a fellow New Yorker. He used to be a bouncer at a bar, believe it or not, before he became a famous movie star. But this movie is called Knockaround Guys, and he has a line in this movie where he's like, he says he wanted to be a tough guy. And he was thinking to himself, what do you have to do to be considered a tough guy? And he came up with, he's like, you know what, 500 fights. I gotta get in 500 fights to be considered a tough guy. He's like, so I got started, you know, and he never made it to 500. Somewhere along the way, it becomes the point. And I think that's something similar with becoming an accomplished musician, or, you know, being a paid musician, or doing it for a career. You know, belief is a very, very important thing, you know. And I would like to quote Mr. Henry Ford as well. Whether you think you can do something or you think you can't do something, either way you're right. So food for thought, fix a plate, and I'll see you guys in class.